Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, welcome to another episode of Roll the Tape Podcast with Manager Marty. I'm your host, Manager Marty. We need answers. I'm so delighted and excited to be here with all of you today. I want to welcome everyone who's joining live and living color. I also want to welcome and give a special salute and shout out to everyone in the chat. But I have to be more specific because we have members of the channel who are supervisors of the Roll the Tape film crew. And double salute to my homegirl, Ty. She is in the chat. Double salute to you, Ty. Good to see you, sweetheart. And double salute to my guy, Jay Sir. He's also in the chat. Always a pleasure to see you. Ty, I got something for you. And I'm going to make sure I notate the fact that I have to upgrade your status in the live chat. So Ty, expect a wrench extremely soon. In fact, you might get one before this broadcast is over. But we want to salute everybody that's here today. I have a few questions. I mean, I really do. Because most people don't pick up on this until something happens. And then the Walmart manager, and then the Target manager, myself, yes, me, have to come out and point these things out. And that's okay too. But before I get into that, I also have to welcome my haters, my spies, and my detractors. If you're not here live, and I know a few of you are, I know for sure you're here watching the replay of this live. So I want to welcome you. Now listen, we're not going to spend too much time on this. So I encourage everyone that's here live in living color and watching the replay of this live. Grab a plate, have a seat. I have some food to serve you. Food for thought. Now let's get into this. I mean, I really don't know exactly where to start because I've been conducting research on performance enhancing drugs being used and abused in sports in general. And of course, in the sport that I love the most, my favorite sport, our favorite sport, the sport of boxing, for the past 15 plus years. And it never ceased to amaze me how, when I see a professional boxer's performance being enhanced, I get the same feeling. Let me show the people, my family members, my face, because you know me. You know I don't run from the smoke because we don't cook over here. If you here thinking that we cook on this channel, I want to encourage you to let you know we don't cook over here. No, we don't cook. We don't cook. We air fry. And the air fryer is warming up because the viewership is increasing exponentially. It never ceases to amaze me, y'all. I mean, I swear to y'all, I promise you, every time I see when a fighter's performance is enhanced, I get the same exact feeling. And I'm not saying I'm perfect because let me see. Why didn't they put that on the screen? Hold on. I was about to say because I'm for 2025 and beyond. I gotta change my. I gotta change my. I have to change my. Yeah, I'm manager Marty, but I have to make sure that people know that. Well, I'm still a Walmart manager. Y'all all know that, and I'm still the Target manager, and you all know that. And guess what I told y'all? Hey, I finally applied. Hopefully by next week we get some news. Maybe I have an interview scheduled. We don't know, but I finally applied to be the manager at Chick-fil-A. Oh, I'm so excited. 2025 is just amazing. I just want my headline to get posted on the screen from now on because in 2025 and beyond, I have to admit, that officially, and I've been doing this for so long, you see it on your screen under the name Manager Marty, you see it, anti-doping advocate. I've been an anti-doping advocate for over a decade and a half. And I mean, I know that you all may have heard that title before, that the self-proclaimed Victor Conti gave himself. Yeah, he told everybody himself he been an anti-doping advocate since 2005 when he came home from prison. But the only person that I see right now that's been an anti-doping advocate, just right now, is me. I mean, when I look at people like, let's say Victor Conti, right? Because he is a self-proclaimed anti-doping advocate. Now, I don't know what changes has he made. I don't know if you qualify an advocate for just going on X, formerly known as Twitter, or even internet spaces or social media and make posts about anti-doping. If that's what the qualification is, then I guess he is an anti-doping advocate. But I've been putting the work in. I put the work in. I can name fights right off the cuff right now where I've had this a distinct feeling every time I see a professional boxer performance being enhanced. Now, once again, I'm not a doping expert. I'll leave that up to him, Victor Conti. He's more of a doping expert than an anti-doping advocate. So I can't sit up here and tell you publicly whether these fighters are doping or not. I'll leave that up for the experts. But I will tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, when I tell y'all that a fighter's performance is enhanced, if you don't believe nothing else I tell you, please at least believe that. Let me run some fights off where I got this distinct feeling. And then we're going to tie this all into who we all came here to talk about today, Mr. David Benavidez. Double salute to my guy, Michael Dangerfield. He's in the chat. He's a supervisor of the Road to Take film crew. And your contributions and support today on this live broadcast is going to help the air fryer warm up. Don't let the air fryer get stale because some people don't want to donate to the channel. You know, I do a lot of work behind the scenes. I do a lot of work. I'm so serious, y'all. I mean, the videos that you, hey, let me cut this real quick. Did y'all see that video I republished yesterday? Like that video I published yesterday. See, a lot of people not going to call it out. I'm talking about the one with Terrence Crawford. I have family in the chat. They seen the video. Yeah, you know Terrence Crawford, he's anemic. Lord have mercy. You get with Victor Conti, and when he do the comprehensive blood testing, all of a sudden, that guy Victor, he's going to diagnose you. Yeah, when he see your iron is low. You see that, Ty? Yeah, a lot of people like that video. Now, you know YouTube. You know they shadow banned me. You know that video should have got 20,000, 100,000 views. But we get it now. But, I mean, you go over to Victor, he see your iron is low. He want to boost that testosterone. Hey, don't get mad at me, some of y'all Terrence Crawford fans. And speaking of a Terrence Crawford fan, I got one of the realest Terrence Crawford fans in the chat. He's my guy. Double salute to Band Up. He is a supervisor of the Roll the Tape film crew, and he's also a member of the channel. And I know Band Up not going to get mad at it because he knows it's the truth. He knows it's real. And I say that because a lot of Terrence Crawford fans, you know, been getting upset with me. I mean, some of y'all wasn't here. Some of you new to the channel, and some of you may not know the history of this anti-doping advocacy that I've been doing on this channel for the last year and a half. And so when I first started speaking on it, slice by slice by slice, giving you video after video after video, live after live after live, clip by clip, slice of pizza by slice of pizza, putting out the information and disseminating it to everybody all across the YouTube boxing community and the world. I've been receiving a lot of backlash when I start talking about Terrence Crawford and his performance against Errol Spence. You see? So I know a lot of Terrence Crawford fans were getting upset with me, and I get it. But I tell you what, after a year and a half, especially with that video I republished yesterday, you know you can't get mad at me because I put the work in. I didn't even know I had these investigative skills. I promise y'all, before I did, all right, hold up for a minute. Let me not. I guess that's one of the reasons why I'm divorced today. I'm not going to go there because some of y'all don't know my personal life, but I have been divorced. I am divorced. People know that already. Most people that know me personally, of course, they know that, but I've been divorced now going on, carry the one, add that, and then bring, okay, 12 years. 12 years, almost 12 years I've been divorced. And that investigative skill set that I have, I didn't know I had it. AP Flame, I never knew I had it. I didn't know I had investigative skills or journalistic skills, you know, or these distinct intuitions, premonitions. I didn't know that I had all of these things, Band Up, before I came on YouTube. You know what I mean? I knew that I was on to something over 15 years ago when I was conducting research and education and self-education and investigative work with PED use in the sport of boxing and all sports. Double salute to my homegirl, Ty. Thank you, Ty, for the super chat. And Ty says, to warm the air fryer. Thank you, Ty. She's always coming over, supporting the channel. And we got so much respect and love for you, Ty, because a lot of women don't know a lot about the sport of boxing, but it makes my heart do jumping jacks when I see women in the chat who not only just know the sport of boxing, but know how to be gracious and graceful in the chat and be modest as a woman. And we love and respect female athletes and fans of boxing. And speaking of female athletes, we're going to get down to Clarissa Shields. Might speak on her tomorrow. We're going to dive into her tomorrow. But we thank you again, Ty. But these distinct feelings and things that I get when I see fighters in the ring live. So I'm talking about live, whether I'm there in person or watching it on TV. I'm like, that person's performance is enhanced. It just seems like I just know it. I've been around anti-doping at this point for a long time now. And so I understand if your favorite fighter is over with certain suspicious people, whether they're cheating or not. Once again, I'm not the doping expert. But some people get mad at me because their favorite fighter is affiliated and or associated with some people that have a shady past. You know what I mean? And I get it, right? Now, how we going to tie this in to David Benavidez? Because let me give y'all a few fights right off the cuff to let y'all know I've been doing this. Some of y'all that might challenge, my expertise. Let me, off the top, you got Manny Pacquiao. When he fought Ricky Hatton. Y'all remember that fight? Y'all remember that? He knocked Ricky Hatton out in 2 rounds with 1 punch. As soon as he did it, I said, Manny Pacquiao's performance is enhanced. Manny Pacquiao, when he fought Miguel Cotto, he dropped him like what? 3 times after leaving that fight? I said, and he dropped him. Look. Remember I told you about that excruciating power. That excruciating power between what? Rounds 1 and round 3. Now, I'm not saying this is all the time, but it seems like that when you got people whose performance is being enhanced. Rounds 1, 2, and or 3. Ricky Hatton got knocked out cold, unconscious by Pacquiao. Round number 2. Pacquiao go in there and drop Miguel Cotto. I think that was round 1. And it didn't even look like he hit him that hard with that combination. I'm like, there he go again. Every time I see him fight, there he go again. Round number 1. I think it was round 1 when he did that to Cotto. It was either round 1 or round 2, but I think it was round 1. Go back and fact check me. All right. Then he get in there with Sugar Shane. See, I did my research and my homework on all of this back when it happened, and I got all the evidence. Sugar Shane Mosley fought a guy named Canelo Alvarez who was in his early 20s. And some of y'all remember that on the undercard of Mayweather fight. And I did the research on the statistics on that when that fight happened. Canelo Alvarez landed over 300 and something punches on Sugar Shane Mosley and didn't knock Sugar Shane Mosley down, not even one time. Sugar Shane Mosley, and this is a credit to Shane. We know that Shane has a chin, and he's always had a chin. But all I'm saying is Canelo Alvarez landed over 300 punches on Shane Mosley when they fought each other. Go back and look at the CompuBox numbers. But then he couldn't knock Sugar Shane down not one time. Huh? A year or 2 after that, Sugar Shane get in there with Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao dropped Sugar Shane Mosley with 1 punch in the 2nd round. And I said, I see it again. There go Pacquiao again. Performances is enhanced. Pacquiao get in there with Antonio Margarita. Y'all remember that fight? Yeah, at the Cowboy Stadium. Antonio Margarito, he came in there, he was like what? He was almost 170 in that when he rehydrated. He's almost like 170. Rehydration the night of the fight. He get in there, Manny Pacquiao break his orbital bone, his eye socket within 2 rounds. Come on, man. I said, there go Pacquiao again. I said, there you go again. And then that when I seen them pictures, because you know me, I'm going to show y'all in a minute before we get off of here. You know, y'all going to see this a couple other times this week. I don't know where these fighters keep getting all these bumps on their face and bumps on their back and bumps on their forehead. I just trying to figure out where these bumps is coming from. Because when I saw you fight last year, you didn't have them bumps on there. Then you get associated with a suspicious person, and all these, these bumps appear. Now listen, y'all, I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not here diagnosing the bumps. I am not saying it's acne. I don't know. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not qualified. At least I'm man enough to admit that I'm not medically qualified. I'm not board certified. I'm not licensed as a healthcare practitioner or a doctor. You got some people that can't admit it. Victor Conti. And then other people that keep going over there with him knowing that he's not credentialed. I don't know. All I'm saying is, where do these bumps keep coming from? And then I saw them bumps on Pacquiao back. And I took the screenshot a decade ago, so I got it in my email. See, all this stuff I'm talking to y'all about now, this is not something that I did research on yesterday. I'm bringing it out today because now I have the audience. Now I have your ear. Now I have your eyes. And you can hear and see the same thing that I was hearing and seeing over the years. But I have to build the credibility to get you all to understand where I'm going with this. Now, give y'all some other fights. And I said, oh, that fighter, his performance looked enhanced. Caleb Plant, we're going to talk about him as well. Might talk about him and Clarissa tomorrow. We're going to see. We definitely going to talk about Caleb Plant before the week is out. But Caleb Plant. Now, he fights Andre Durrell, and I was at that fight, by the way. I mean, he hit this guy with 2 punches. He hit him with the hook to the body, boom, and he came upstairs. He hit him. Actually, it was more like an upper. No, it was more of a hook. He hit him with the hook to the body, like the Mike Tyson combination. Only thing is, Mike will hit you with the uppercut, then he will hit you with the hook to the body, then come upstairs with the uppercut. But what Caleb Plant was doing, and it was a great combination. I have to give Caleb Plant credit. Did I say Andre? I meant to say Anthony Durrell. I love Andre Durrell. That's his brother, Anthony Durrell. He get in there. He hit Anthony Durrell with the hook to the body. Bow. Then he comes back upstairs with the hook. Bow. Once he hit him with the hook, out cold. And I was there at that fight. And I said, I see you, Caleb. I've been watching you, Caleb, but I ain't want to point it out yet. But when I saw that fight, I said, oh, yes. And then, of course, I know who he's associated with. The snack protocol. I said, yeah, Caleb Plant, I got to add you to the list. I see it. Mm-hmm. That's why Manny Pacquiao wanted to take 5 years. Because he didn't want to deal with that Olympic style, the real Olympic style testing. He didn't want to deal with that. He didn't want to. That's why it took them 5 years. Go back and do your research. Some of y'all been around boxing for a long time. Y'all was here. Y'all remember that. You know what I mean? Manny Pacquiao was prolonging that test. Because he kept telling the people, oh, man, I'm scared of needles. You scared of needles, but I see you got like 5, 6 tattoos on your body, Pacquiao. Oh, man, they take too much blood from you, make you drain. Manny Pacquiao is a tube of blood, bro. The same thing you do, Manny, when you go to the doctor, bro. It's no different. Yeah, all right, I'm going to leave that alone, though. Who else I can name? Oh, I know who else I can name. I know who I can name. Look at your screen. That's right. I can name David Benavidez. Yeah, I can name David Benavidez. Yeah, on your screen is the rematch between him and Ronald Gavril. Ronald Gavril was being promoted by Mayweather Promotions. Really good fighter, and he was undefeated in the first fight between him and David Benavidez. Okay? This on your screen, though, is the rematch. Now, there's some significance about this rematch, and I'm going to bring it up. Lucky McKinnels is here. My God, double salute to Lucky McKinnels. He's a supervisor of the Roller Tape Film Crew and a member of the channel. And I've already talked to Lucky privately, and he knows exactly where I'm going with this. But on your screen, David Benavidez fought Gabriel in the rematch. This is the second fight, 5 months after the first one. Okay. Y'all see them wide scorecards? Man, but if you look at that fight, and I'm going to actually ask you all throughout today, if you can, see if you can go on YouTube and look at the highlights or the full fight of the first fight between Ronald Garrow and David Benavidez, and then the rematch, the second fight, like the fight that's on your screen right now, and it's almost like night and day. But that's the fight, the one that was just on your screen, when I was looking at David Benavidez, and I said, David Benavidez, you have your performance been enhanced. And it's not just because it was like night and day from the first fight, because it's no secret in boxing. A fighter can come into a rematch and make adjustments and look different and come out more impressive with a win. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is not just the fact that Benavidez came out in that rematch. I mean, like a machine. He looked super duper different. Okay, I mean, in the first fight, you can tell he drank himself. You know what I mean? But in the second fight, he looked different to me, not just because of his performance, but it's because of his association with a guy I've been doing research on for, of course, the last 15 years as well. And his name is Alex Ariza. And some of y'all might not know his name, but some of you might be familiar with his face. And he is the one that was the strength and conditioning coach for the fights that I mentioned about Manny Pacquiao. That's where his claim to fame came from. You saw him in Marcos Maidana corner several times as well. You know, when Marcos Maidana was in that fight with Adrian Broner. Now, some people might say, well, why are you bringing up Alex Ariza's name? Because ever since Benavidez has been associated with him, I saw the levels in his performance change. That's all I'm saying. Double salute to my guy, Andre Noble. Thank you for the super chat. And I know this is not the only one that we're going to get before the broadcast is over, but I got to acknowledge him. And you might have to renew your subscription to the membership, Andre Noble, because I was looking at your name to see if you still was on there and I didn't see it. So you might have to renew it. I don't know why YouTube does that, Andre, where they keep making people renew the membership. I don't know. Like, not renew, it's called rejoin. I don't know why they do that, but people have been calling me and emailing me about the fact that they still think they're members of the channel and they couldn't access that members only live that I did almost 2 weeks ago. And it's because they had to rejoin. So that's just a quick tidbit for you, Dre, because I don't see your membership icon next to your name. But Andre Noble in the super chat says, my good brother, Cook, thank you for putting something on the grocery bills, Dre. I appreciate you. So Alex Ariza was the quote-unquote strength and conditioning coach for Marcos Maidana. Manny Pacquiao. And even Brandon Rios. And I promise you, I'm going to go back to David Benavidez, but I want to educate some of you members of the audience that don't know who Alex Ariza is and why I always believed when I was doing research on him that he was suspect because, excuse me, and y'all can do research on everything I'm talking about is public record. You can go research it and fact check me if you don't believe. But Alex Ariza, when he got fired by Freddie Roach from the camp of Manny Pacquiao, it was around the time where Manny Pacquiao was going to fight Brandon Rios, right? So Brandon Rios hired Alex Ariza. Now, at the time, Brandon Rios, he had a trainer. And y'all know who his trainer is. Y'all know his name. I'm going to save him when we talk about Mikey Garcia next week. I'm going to save him when we talk about Bam Bam Rodriguez next week. Y'all should know who his trainer was. Anyway, you know, because now his trainer is being sponsored by Victor Conti. That's why you see most of his top fighters over there with Victor now. And you might see him on Ellie Seckbeck doing them interviews with that snack shirt. Y'all know his trainer. We're going to talk about him next week. But anyway, he hired Alex Ariza Alex Ariza for Brandon Rios. I've done research on this in 2012 when it first happened live, so I know what I'm talking about. I got the evidence. And guess what happened? Manny Pacquiao's camp, Freddie Roach and all of them over there, they demanded, hear me now, as soon as they found out that Alex Ariza was in Brandon Rios' camp, they demanded testing. They demanded random style testing as a prerequisite for Brandon Rios to fight Manny Pacquiao. Because they know how Alex Ariza was helping them improve. And so guess what happened to Brandon Rios? The man done tested positive for a banned substance. First fight with Alex Ariza. First fight that Alex Ariza had with a professional fighter right after he left the Pacquiao camp. You ain't gonna, I promise y'all one thing before this is over. You ain't gonna find this information. You're not gonna find it nowhere else on YouTube. That's why I'm glad you're here. And so now we got David Benavidez. He rolling around at this point with Alex Ariza. Not for the first fight. Because I'm going to tell y'all what happened. Go and look at your screen. These are the results of the first fight between David Benavidez and Ronald Garro. Okay? Go on and look at it. I already circled it for you. I've done the homework for you so you don't have to do it yourself when you come to class. We are going to review the homework I've conducted. But you see where I circled that at? That's the last time David Benavidez has been down in a professional fight. In fact, that was the first time that I know of that David Benavidez was down in a professional fight, knocked down. And I could be wrong. But based on the research I've conducted, I'm almost certain that I am right. But Benavidez was down in round 12. And Ronald Garro was giving him that work. They was getting it on in that fight. But David Benavidez didn't look like the Mexican monster. This is the first fight right here. Y'all see it on your screen? And then 5 months later, in the rematch, David Benavidez had Alex Ariza in his corner. And that's when he looked like the Mexican monster in that fight. Oh, yes. And go back, when y'all go back and look at the first Garro fight and the second, and you see how in the first fight, go in and look at the corner. You know, when both fighters take the 60-second resting period after each round, you're not going to see Alex Ariza in that corner in that first fight with Benavidez. Oh, but in that rematch, the one that's on your screen 5 months later, you're going to see Alex Ariza all up in the cameras. Oh, you're going to see him in the corner. And you're going to see that's when the Mexican monster was born, in my opinion. And the reason why I say that he was born, in my opinion, as the Mexican monster, because, you know, up until that point, I mean, David Benavidez for some good opposition. No, not like top level, like his whole profile or resume, but he fought some good fighters. He fought some good fighters before he fought Garro. I'm talking about, let me be clear on that, a few fighters that had winning records. Most of them were like guys who were overmatched, of course. So you can't give them credence to being a Mexican monster against overmatched opponents. But to me, in my estimation, the first fight when he fought Ronald Garro, he wasn't the Mexican monster. But after that, and you can go look at his resume, and you'll understand where I'm getting at with this, how his performances have been enhanced and his performances have improved greatly. And so after the rematch with Garro in the second fight, the one that's on your screen, man, he's been running through everybody as the Mexican monster. That's when I believe he became the Mexican monster in the rematch with Garro. That's just my personal assessment. Okay? Now, the reason why I brought up Alex Ariza in the first place when we talk about David Benavidez is because when I first start talking about anti-doping, VADA testing, of course, SNAC, Victor Conti, it was when Victor Conti tweeted, and I'm going to show you the tweet is right there on your screen. And some of you might not remember this, but if you're a day one supporter of this channel, you recall me speaking on this tweet in live time in February of 2023. And in February of 2023, right, we see that Victor Conti tweeted, because in March of 2023, there was a fight that was going to be live in living color on pay-per-view between David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. Now let's read the tweet together, class, because this one I first started speaking on testing anti-doping on this channel because of this tweet right here. And I actually had Caleb Plant's trainer and Julian J. Rock Williams' trainer, Breadman, in my first interview on the channel a week after this post in February of 2023. And I asked him about this, but let's read it together, class, shall we? Time for boxing to get woke. Even the most stringent VADA testing can be circumvented by smart cheaters. Be aware, Memo Heredia is in camp with Benavidez versus Caleb Plant on March 25th. Substances like IGF-1, LR3 are powerful and undetectable. And those were the words of the doping expert, Victor Conti himself. It was something interesting that he said in there. In that tweet, I wanted to just speak on it for about 30 seconds if I can. He said, even the most stringent VADA testing can be circumvented by smart cheaters. Look, that's what he said. Some people get mad at me for speaking on this subject matter, but that's what he said. Even the most stringent VADA testing can be circumvented by smart cheaters. Well, wasn't Victor Conti a smart cheater? So how you know your favorite fighter is not cheating? And I'm not saying your favorite fighter is. You know the guys that's on the SNAC protocol. You know the guys that run around with Memo Heredia. I'm not saying they're cheating either. I leave it up to the doping experts. But I'm just asking, just a question. If Victor Conti, the self-proclaimed anti-doping advocate, is stating publicly that even the most stringent VADA testing can be circumvented by smart cheaters, I mean, how much faith can we have in the fighters that's associated with shady people who have a very shady past, like a Memo Heredia and or a Victor Conti, even though they both are proclaiming for over a decade and some change now that they have changed. But the bottom line is people are still suspicious of both of those guys, you know? And then on top of that, you got the quote unquote self-proclaimed anti-doping advocate Victor Conti telling you that the most stringent VADA testing can be circumvented, period. How much faith can you have in VADA testing? I mean, yes, they do catch athletes cheating through their administration of tests that they run through the process of WADA accredited labs. But at the same time, we know that they don't have 365, 24/7 testing. We do know that today. Most people didn't know that before, but based on my research that I've conducted since they was established in 2011, I've been speaking on this privately. But you all know now that VADA doesn't have out of competition testing, and 365, 24/7 testing through VADA is a hoax. We know that today, don't we? Okay. Now, he wanted and still want and promote VADA testing for all athletes, including the SNAC athletes, right? But yet and still, hey, you see the tweet? He said even the most stringent VADA testing can be circumvented by smart cheaters. You see, people can't get mad at me. Victor Conte's saying, time for boxing to get woke. That's what he said in February of 2023. And here we are in January 2025, almost 2 years after he said that, and boxing is getting woke because of the research and homework and investigation I've been conducting for the last 15 and counting. And so the reason why I'm bringing up that tweet, and I'm going to go right back to it on your screen, is because Victor Conte and Memo Heredia, of course, since the Baco scandal, they both has had a hate relationship publicly. I mean, you can pull up Victor Conte's name and Memo's name won't come up. Pull up Memo Heredia's name and Victor Conte's name won't come up. They've been beefing on social media publicly and even privately too for over a decade and some change now. Publicly. But of course, the beef started 20-something years ago. But they've been beefing publicly for well over a decade and a half, man. At least 10 years, but definitely a decade and a half. They hate each other. They always pointing out certain things that the other one is suspected of doing. And Victor Conte was here. And he talked about when he was asked to a super chat, do he believe Memo Heredia is still cheating? And he said, yes, he still believes that he is. And if you ask Memo Heredia, I'm sure he's going to say he still believes that Victor Conte is cheating. And they both work with athletes. They both have been busted. Okay, Tim Montgomery was here. I interviewed Tim. Y'all was here, most of you. And you heard him tell all of us that before he even met Victor, he was approached and was doing business with who? Memo Heredia. So both of these guys been around for many years. And speaking of Memo Heredia, who has been in the camp of David Benavidez for years now, there's a fight that was associated with Memo, and there's several of them, and I'm not even going to go down the list. But there is one that stands out to me the most that was associated with an athlete that Memo Heredia was working with. And that was my guy, too. And he's one of my favorites at one point. Juan Manuel Marquez. Y'all remember that fight? Because, you know, Juan Manuel Marquez felt like he couldn't catch a break every time he fought Pacquiao, man. Oh. But in their last fights, my goodness, did you see the physique change? You see Juan Manuel Marquez, he went over there with Memo Heredia, and you know they both from Mexico. And you know, you can go over to Mexico right now and go into any pharmacy, any corner store, and you can purchase HGH, EPO, and testosterone right over the counter. No prescription or nothing. You can just purchase it over the counter. That's how easy it is to, you know, get those performance enhancement drugs. And of course, in America, you know that those performance enhancing drugs are prohibited. But at the same time, when you go back and look at that fight, remember those distinct feelings I was telling y'all I get when I see an athlete's performance being enhanced? Well, I got that feeling when Manny Pacquiao fought Marquez. Oh, yes. See, Marquez was rolling with Memo Heredia in that fight. And you see his physique change? You see how he bulked up? Look at his shoulders in that fight. Go on and look at it. When you get off of this, go back and look at that. This is for, now when I talk like that, I'm talking to those that are spying on me and detracting me and hating on me and doing memes out of me and doing videos out of, you know, off of me and everything, like the people that's throwing shots at me and stuff. Those are the people, that's why I'm talking in that. That's for them. But for y'all, my family, go back, y'all, seriously, do your homework. Go back and look at that. When you're talking about when he knocked Pacquiao out with one punch, he knocked Manny Pacquiao out cold. And I didn't feel bad for Pacquiao either. I didn't. But I was disappointed that one of my favorite fighters at that time would associate himself with a guy who's suspicious, who had a suspicious cloud walking around him in Memo Heredia. And we saw the results in that fight. Okay? And so back to Benavidez. David Benavidez has been linking up with Memo Heredia. Now, some of you might not know who he is or what he looked like because he is not as public as Victor Conte. He does tweet every now and then. And of course, he is connecting himself with USADA, another anti-doping testing agency. You see that? You see, Memo has associated with himself by promoting USADA, and his fighters go through USADA. Of course, most of the fighters go through VADA, but I'm just saying he promotes USADA over VADA, USADA. And then, of course, Victor Conte, he promotes VADA. You see how suspicious that is with both of these guys attaching themselves to anti-doping agencies, attaching themselves to boxing athletes because they can't go anywhere else. Memo Heredia or Victor Conti, they are not welcome and they are banned from all other sports, not just in America, but internationally. There's only one sport that I know of right now that welcome Memo Heredia and Victor Conti with open arms. And that's the sport of boxing. The sport that Victor Conti himself claimed, and I quote, the red light district. So, the Mexican monster became the Mexican monster, in my opinion, in my observation, when he fought Ron Gavril in that rematch. And then, of course, subsequently following that, the Mexican monster was born. He was with Alex Ariza in that rematch. And then, of course, subsequently following that, he associated himself with Memo Heredia. And that's why Victor Conti tweeted that, because now he's want to put the spotlight on Memo Heredia, because he still says and proclaims that Memo Heredia is still cheating. And he's enhancing the performances of, these fighters illegally. You see? And by the way, let's end that tweet with what Victor Conti said. Substances like insulin growth factor 1, LR3, are powerful and undetectable. Lord have mercy. Man. See, people can't get mad at me. This is what they're saying. And I can pull up tweets from Memo as well. But most people don't know who Memo Heredia is. Most people know who Victor is. So that's why I pointed out this tweet opposed to just the tweets of Victor, the tweets of Memo. Okay. Now for my grand finale, and I promise y'all I'm gonna let y'all go. I had a question on something because Benavidez now is questioning David Morrell, and of course he's been public in recent interviews saying, David Morrell is being enhanced with PEDs and he's cheating. Hey, that's what David Benavidez said. He's hearing through the grapevine that David Morrell is on PEDs. Hey, I'm only going by what David Benavidez said. Did you notice, and I got to say this before I put some other pictures on the screen before we go. Did you notice that every time an athlete that works with Memo Heredia, right, fight an athlete that's associated with Victor Conti, do you know that the fighters that's associated with Victor Conti in the snack protocol, they lose? Did y'all ever notice that? Most of you haven't. I've done research on this. I'm investigating. I've been doing this for 15 years to all my new audience because I see the viewership increasing exponentially. You remember when David Benavidez fought Caleb Plant? Y'all remember that fight? Memo Heredia beat Victor Conti. And remember when Benavidez fought Demetrius Andrade? And Andrade was with the snack protocol as well. Y'all remember that? And David Benavidez won both of those fights. Every time an athlete get with Memo, I noticed this. I don't know why I have these keen observations. And I'm so detailed that I don't know. It's just a gift that I have, maybe. I know my ex, she hated it. Hey, I see what you're doing, sweetheart. You think you're slick. But it's all love. It's all good. Now, back to Benavidez. He associated himself with Memo. Now he's the Mexican Monster 2.0. I have a question for David. Once again, I'm not a medical professional. I don't know anything about medicine. I don't know anything. I'm not a doctor. When it comes to the healthcare industry, I'm totally oblivious. I'm totally ignorant. I have no experience in the medical field. Zero, absolutely none. But I got a question on something. So I'm not diagnosing acne. But I got a question for David Benavidez. I've been trying to figure this out ever since he fought, Morel, ever since he fought Durrell, you know, and then he fought Keon. I think that's named Keon, right? He fought him. He fought Plant. You know, the list goes on and on. He fought Plant. Y'all saw what he did to Demetrius Andrade. But after that Plant fight, I just want to ask him a question if y'all don't mind. Just look at your screen real quick. I just figure I asked David Benavidez this question. What's this right here, David? Like, once again, I'm not saying it's acne. I'm not a medical professional. Y'all know this now. That's why I'm asking. You probably can't see it as clear. Let's see if we can get another close up on that. Bam. I circled it for you. See, I do my homework before I come to class, so when we review it, you don't have to do the work. What's these bumps on your back, bro? I'm just asking a question, please, y'all. David Benavidez fans, don't get mad at me. He's rolling with Memo Heredia. And now we got to ask these questions of these bumps on his back. I'm just trying to ask. You know what I mean? Double salute to my homegirl, always supporting the channel with the super chat again. Ty, thank you for your contribution and your support, sweetheart. Ty says in the super chat, now all these guys are about to start accusing each other, and they all on the same program. Hey, Ty, you couldn't have said it any better. You are absolutely correct. They're all on the same program. And we see David Benavidez right now. He's accusing David Morrell. Now, I don't have any evidence on David Morrell, but I will investigate him if need be. But right now, the only guy that's associated with a self-proclaimed anti-doping advocate who has a very shady past, who of course has been convicted and banned from other sports, and Memo Heredia, is David Benavidez. I'm not here accusing anybody. I'm just asking a question. What are these bumps on his back? I'm just asking. I'm not saying it's acne. I just want to know what it is. I circled it for you all. If you can see that. What is that? Now, some people have called me a weirdo on YouTube because when I look at fights and I analyze them, of course, and I evaluate them when a fighter, of course, in my observation, is being enhanced through their performance. All the camera got to do is show their back, and I'm a screenshot it. You know, like that last fight that Caleb Plant had with that guy, what's his name, McGruff? I went right on the, look, I screenshot it on the TV. I took a picture of it right from my phone. And we're going to deal with that tomorrow with Caleb Plant. But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to figure out these bumps that keep being on these athletes' faces and backs. I don't know if it's acne. I saw some bumps on Terrence Crawford's forehead. I'm just trying to ask a question. I'm not a medical professional. That's why at least I can ask, you know. But what are these bumps on his back, on his shoulder, and then right there in the middle of his shoulder, in the middle of his back? I'm just trying to figure out. We need answers.